Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2022 Genesis G70 in the Sport Prestige trim level with the 6-cylinder twin-turbo 3.3-liter rear-wheel drive turbocharged 6-cylinder. This vehicle sitting on 225/40 Michelin tires in the front, 255/35 in the back. Now these are wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has an upgraded performance Brembo braking system with ventilated disc rotors on all 4 wheels. The name of this color is Alta White. And it's basically just like a normal white color. There's nothing that pops out as, extra special, but it does look nice and it looks like a quality paint job. So here in the front, it has the Genesis badge. Really nice there in the center. There is a chrome trim around the center portion of the grille, and some of the grille pieces are blocked off, so no airflow can go through those. They're basically bug catchers, I guess. There's parking sensors across the front. There's one integrated here. There's one here. There's also the radar adaptive cruise control sensor kind of blended in here, or attempted to be blended, but you can see it kind of stands out. And then there's a camera right in there, and that's part of the surround view 360 camera system that the vehicle has, which is really good. We'll get to that when we get inside the vehicle. Now the headlights are a quad projector LED headlight system. All exterior lights on this vehicle is LED. It's really impressive. Now there is a little bit of a few drawbacks in this vehicle, and I'll go into that later on, and also in the night video as well, so you can want to check that out. Looking at the profile, it has the gloss wheels, which look really cool. A little gloss piece right here. Gloss pillars, or this pillar right here is gloss, and it kind of solidifies the glass. Now the glass has like a black chrome or a smoked chrome around the outside, so it doesn't stand out too much. The handles are body colored. The upper portion of the side mirror is body colored as well. And also you'll see the Brembo braking system, little Brembo calipers are also in red, kind of pops out, looks really nice. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key system, and it's designed to where you could just keep it with you, keep it in your pocket, keep it in a bag. As long as it's with you, you can use the vehicle 100%. Now it has useful buttons here: lock, unlock, the ability to open up the trunk, remote start, and a panic button. You can also initiate the lights as you're walking to the vehicle. You can go ahead and get the lights on if it's really dark as well. Now, as long as you have the key with you, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity to the outside of either the driver or passenger front doors, you can lock the door by placing your finger here over this little sensor indicated by that little dimple. It'll lock the doors. It also folds the side mirrors when you have that setting enabled. To unlock it, you just simply put your hand behind the handle. It senses the key on the outside of the door, and there's a sensor here, and it allows you access to the vehicle. There's also a physical key location behind this cover. You will need to take this cover off in order to locate it, and use your physical key, which is in the inside of this key fob, in order to unlock the door. Now this is only on the driver's side. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. Really impressive interior. It has mostly black, but it has this red stitching and metallic accents throughout the vehicle. So right in here is like a soft touch injection molded material. This is like a vinyl type material here and here with that diamond quilting with red stitching, and then you have a French stitch, double stitch right down here. And this is kind of like a vinyl type material as well. This part is enclosed, so you can utilize it as a pocket, and it has a little pad there at the bottom as well. There's a larger pocket at the bottom. Down here, you get into the hard touch surfaces. And it has the Lexicon sound system. And you see there's one of the speaker grills, and this is like a metallic speaker grill looking nice, and the same pattern here on the plastic one at the bottom. And this is really cool right here. There's another one here. But Check it out. It has that little spiral pattern here on this metallic accent. Just a little added touch to the look of the door. The sill plate has a little Genesis badge on it there in the threshold. And check out these seats. Really impressive. Now this is a power seat, and it's full range. I mean, you can go up and down, you can tilt the bottom part, tilt the back of course, and then a 4-way lumbar adjustment as well. But the seats are really nice. They are heated and ventilated. You got stitching everywhere, the quilting in the middle, perforations, and just really impressive looking. You even have a little metallic accent there. There's also some buttons on the other side of the seat here, so the driver can actually reach over, or the rear passengers can reach over and move the seat forward and tilt it as well. This is a neat little touch. Plenty of legroom here in the front. Not much tapering going on. A little bit there on the right. Glove compartment is locking. Has a little metallic piece on the handle, which is neat. This is a hard touch surface, and the inside is a felt lined. The dash, this is soft touch, like a vinyl type material. You have the more metallic there, and then you have some stitching and another soft touch dash, non-reflective. Same thing with down here as well. Also, red seat belts. These are awesome. It's just a nice little touch when you put the seat belts on and you see them in the vehicle. They kind of match the stitching and everything. I really like that. So the opening on the front door, you can see is wide open space here. And as far as the headroom, it does swoop down a little bit, but other than that, here in the front it's pretty good. In the back, it's much lower, especially right in here. So getting in the vehicle, you will have to duck down possibly, depending on how tall you are to get in. And also there's limitations here as well. The swing of the door is decent. Same thing with the front. The inside of the back door, very similar as far as styling as the front. You have the stitching, metallic accents, even little metallic swirls here. 2 speakers. You have a little badge back here as well. Now the back seats are quilted with the stitching. They have the red seat belts. There's a armrest and cup holders with a little metallic accent around the outside, looking nice. You can flip that up. Now it depends on how much your front passenger seats, front driver and passenger seats are back. Will you severely limit your legroom back here. As you can see, it's really getting close to that seat. So depending on your needs, you may need to pull the front seats a little bit forward, but there is lots of room there in the front. But just want to give you an idea of how limiting it can be back here when you start pulling these front seats all the way back. Now it does have net pockets on the back of both front seats, and it's a hard plastic here as well. There is a USB charge port here, and climate control vents, and pretty significant hump there in the middle. Now these seats have the latch system for car seats, and it has this like little cover right here, and it kind of flips down and you can access it, and it's an ISOFIX or latch system. So the cover doesn't pop off. You can just kind of push it down, and then you have access to the little piece in there. And the anchors are here in the back, right behind the seats here. You can access those. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a body-colored shark fin antenna here at the top of the glass. The third brake light is also there at the top of the glass, and LED powered, of course, just like everything else. The tail lights, really sharp, clear, LEDs. We're very impressive looking, nice and stylish lights. Now the backup camera, well, you can see there's kind of like a deck lid spoiler going on here with the trunk. And the camera, the backup camera, is very well integrated, very center of the vehicle. It's in the very center. It's integrated into the design of the vehicle, and it's in a high position. So it has a very good view. So it's perfect position for the backup camera. This little button will release the trunk. We'll get to that in just a minute. There is parking sensors across the back, so you can see them integrated here, and they match the body of the vehicle. The reverse lights are down here. Then you have a little trim, body color trim at the bottom with this diffuser. These little things here are intended to kind of look like a diffuser. And then it has a true dual exhaust system, and it has these surrounds where the exhaust actually flows through each one of these, so they're not fake. They do have the exhaust flowing through them. But it is a true dual exhaust. If you saw that in the very beginning of the video, you can see and follow the exhaust underneath the car. It is a rear-wheel drive car, and so it's really fun to drive, actually. Opening the trunk, all you have to do is just push this button and it'll open up. But I'm going to use the key to show you, because this is really handy. Let's say you're walking out of a store or whatever, and you're going to put your stuff in the trunk. All you have to do is use the key, and it lifts right up. So it's really convenient. It's not powered or anything, but it has enough spring pressure to lift it up for you. There's pluses and minuses. One of the minuses would be that, let's say it's raining or something, and you don't want to lift it up so high. You kind of have to manually, go over there and lift it up to the point where you want it, because it will drip water inside. So that's one of the negatives about it, but it is really convenient to be able to just push the button, it's up, and you just start loading it up. So the trunk space, pretty good amount of space back here. And you'll notice that these arms go inside this area right here. So that way, if you have cargo in here, these arms are not going to be, interfering or pressing up against anything. They're kind of behind this carpet, and it's mostly carpeted. It's mostly carpeted, but as you'll see, there's quite a bit of bare metal and wires and stuff here. There is 2 LED trunk lights, which is great, but having sharp metal under here, if you're piling your luggage in the trunk, that could potentially damage your luggage. So I wish they would have fully carpeted the trunk, but they didn't. So you can see it looks almost completely carpeted, except for that area. Now the seats fold down in a 60-40 split, so you can fold down one seat or the other and add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Or you can fold them both down and have a lot more room. Now under this cover is a spare tire and tools. Now the cover is a little flimsy, but it just comes right on out, but it's not super strong. So if you're putting heavy stuff in the trunk, it may over time damage the cover. It has a locking fuel door, and the fuel door is here on the driver's side. And it is a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door while you're pumping gas. Using the proximity key, when you remote start the vehicle, you can just get in with the key and you can just start driving. You don't have to push the button to turn the system on like other vehicles. But if you didn't use remote start and you get in with the key, you will need to hold the brake and push this button to start it up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you'll notice on the driver's side, the floor mat hooks in place in 2 places to keep the floor mat straight and from getting sliding around on you. There's the accelerator and brake pedal. You notice that the accelerator pivots at the bottom. Very large and functional footrest there. I really like the size of it. All right, let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch right here, you can see the emblem here on the tip of this wing. You just reach in here and you move it to the left and you can lift up the hood. It doesn't take much effort and it will hold itself up. So you can see there's the latch there. It's insulated on the underside of the hood. There's also seals around the outer portion of the hood. Helps with airflow and noise control. And check it out, it has these braces that brace the strut towers into the unibody structure of the vehicle to give it more front end stability. This vehicle handles really good. It's really fun to drive. There's full insulated firewall here and has a plastic cover covering up the engine. But under that cover is the 3.3 liter twin turbocharged 6-cylinder engine, and it's a rear-wheel drive. So it's positioned this way. So this is the front of the engine, that's the back. Transmission's behind it, and then of course it powers the rear wheels. So the 3.3 liter V6, it's a turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, puts out 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, and is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. Now the front struts are McPherson struts, and the rear suspension is a multi-link rear suspension. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. It has 2 presets for the power seat. This also controls the power tilt and telescoping steering column. Power windows, all the windows are one touch up and down, and they are laminated as well here in the front. Here's the door lock controls. The side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side and adjust it with this little pad. You can also power fold them by pushing that button. And on the side mirrors, they are auto dim heated side mirrors, but they also have the blind spot detection system and rear cross traffic alert system as well. And on the underside is another camera. So there is a camera on the underside of both side mirrors. One camera in the front of the vehicle, one in the back, which I already showed you. And this puts together and stitches together to make the 360 camera system. So the driver's seat is very similar to the passenger as far as the controls here. It's powered, but it has a thigh extender here with that button. So this extends this part. And then the 4-way lumbar adjustment also has bolster. You can adjust the tension here in the bolster on your body. So these go in and out. And they'll also automatically go in and out depending on what drive mode you're in. So if you put it in sport mode, it kind of hugs your body a little bit more. Put it in comfort, it relaxes them. It's pretty neat. But the seats are really nice looking. They don't really, as far as me personally, they're not the most comfortable seats for my body type, but you know, that's just my personal experience. Here to the left of the steering column, there is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. Release the fuel door and then release the trunk, and then it has a tilt, a power tilt and telescoping steering column, and it's really easy to move. And you can also move it while you're driving. So like say if you need to do a micro adjustment, you don't have to release the whole steering column, which would be unsafe to do while you're driving. The heads-up display is very clear and sharp and easy to read and not too intrusive on your visibility. Sometimes if it's too much of a problem, I'll just go ahead and turn off the heads-up display. But so far, this has actually been pretty good. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the seat all the way down and all the way back to give you an idea of what the potential legroom is all about. And I feel like a toddler because I can't even I can barely touch the brake pedal. But as far as the potential legroom here is fantastic. Now, of course, you're compromising big time there in the back seat when you have the seat all the way back. But yeah, lots of legroom. The knee room is good. There's a little bit of space here and lots of room over here. This is dished out, so you got some armrest room here. But yeah, it's the seats, like I mentioned, it's not really fully the most comfortable seat for me, but it's not bad. I mean, it looks great. It feels like high quality. I think just because it's a lower vehicle, it's a little bit hard to get in and out, but also it's a little bit firmer of a seat than I prefer. So the leather wrap steering wheel, it has the perforations there on the outside. Has a grip, has a good thickness. It does give in the hand. It's a little bit soft. Feels really nice. There's like almost everything is really high quality feeling. And the steering wheel is no exception. And there's the paddle shifters there on the back. Now they are on the steering wheel itself, not on the column. So here on the left side, there's the volume for the radio. And when you push it in, it mutes the radio. So it has these little grip things on it, but they're not super grippy. So it's real easy when you're trying to get a grip on it, you kind of push too hard and then mute the radio. So I do that all the time. So if they were to rubberize this wheel, so it's like a little wheel right here. If they rubberize it or something, it just doesn't get enough track grip for my hands anyways. And so it really needs to be dealt with, because it's the same thing with the G70. You know, when I'm using the volume on this scroll wheel, I'm constantly accidentally putting too much pressure, and then it mutes the radio. So it's, you know, a little bit of an issue there. And this right here is for changing through the presets on the radio or the tracks, depending on what you're playing. Mode can be customized to where it goes to a particular audio source. So, or you can set it up to where it cycles through audio sources. Voice recognition is here. There is this is a custom button, so you can customize this to go to a particular screen or whatever, or do something. And this is for your radio. You push it to answer, call, or push it again to hang up. And so once you paired your phone to the system, you can answer and hang up pushing that button. So it's real easy. I really like the badging there in the middle. Okay, so here on the right side, so this is the cruise control. So that has the adaptive cruise control with the lane keep assist here. And you turn it on here. You set it by going up or down. You can change the speeds up and down. Pushing in will pause or resume. You can see right there. Pushing this in will pause or resume the cruise control. Now once you got it set, you can enable, the adaptive cruise control is enabled, and you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you by pushing that button. And you just kind of keep pressing it until you get the distance that you want, and then you rest on that. This is for the lane keep assist. You can turn it on or off. And there'll be like a little steering wheel. Can't turn it on right now, but there'll be a little green steering wheel on the screen letting you know that it actually can see the lines, because sometimes it can't. So, you know, it'll tell you by turning that green steering wheel off that it can't see the lines, and you'll have to, you know, steer yourself as much. I mean, you're still steering yourself. It's just an assisting you to stay in the lane. Just kind of keeps you in the center of the lane without you doing too much movement of the steering wheel. And it works okay. I'm not a big fan of those type of features because it kind of incentivizes people to, you know, not drive and not really. And the less the person's driving, the less they're paying attention, in my opinion. Okay, so over here, that is the windshield wiper controls. On the left side is the turn signal, but it also has the headlight dimmer switch, and then the headlight controls themselves. So off, automatic, parking lights, and headlights on. Now it does have the automatic high beams. So once you turn on put it on automatic and then turn the high beams on, it will automatically dim when there's a vehicle coming in. It seems to work pretty good. I would say about 85–90%, which is pretty good for that kind of system. All right, so you can see it's a combination of a physical gauge here for the gauges, and then on the right side is a screen, has your fuel gauge there. And so this is the speedometer, but it also has a digital speedometer there, outside temperature, what gear you're in, distance to empty, odometer, and the RPMs there. Now when you put the turn signal on to the right, it'll show you a blind spot camera, which is pretty cool. When you do it to the left, same thing, it just goes on the left side. and that's in addition to the blind spot detection system. Using this scroll wheel and then pressing in on it is a button as well, and then this button, we can get some more information there in the center of the gauges. So right off the bat, I'm going to scroll down so you can see that that digital speedometer is actually part of more of a menu system. So we can scroll down. Now you notice the digital speedometer is kind of small. If it was a little bit bigger, I think it'd be better. So we scroll down, and then we can have more information here, like your attention level, tire pressure. Accidentally pressed in once again because I'm trying to scroll and I can't get a grip. So scroll down, temperatures and pressures here. We can also select and add more contents here depending on what we want. Scrolling down again takes us to the like the drive information, the trip. Now you can reset that independently, and then there's an accumulated one. This one resets every time you drive. This one you can reset independently, and then it comes back down to the original one, which is the digital speedometer, and it's like basically a scroll right there. Now if we push the pages button, this will change the to the next selection here, and this is the driving support. So I can't turn on the cruise control because we're basically sitting still, but when you're driving, when you turn it on, it'll give you a visual representation of whether it can see the lines and also the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. You can set that, and it'll show little bars as you're driving. Push the pages button again, takes us to the digital compass. Also, the digital compass, you notice it says no route set. If you have a route, like on your on the navigation, it'll show you the turn-by-turn directions here as you drive, but it's just showing a compass at this point. Then it takes us back to this screen, which is the one we can scroll up and down and get more information. So that would be my default. And like I said, the digital speedometer, if it was a little bit bigger, I think that would be better. This is the main touchscreen in the vehicle, and this is for, you know, your radio, your navigation, all that stuff, and settings. There's a lot of things in the screen. And this is the home screen, and it shows the weather. It shows a nice big digital clock there, and it has like a little picture which you can change. And also you'll notice it blends in to a map. May not be able to tell it right now because I have actually had the shade over the light sensor, so it's giving me the night view of the map over here. But you can see it's not like a clear segment, it's just kind of like blends into that. But right here we can move this over, because this, you can see these little bars right here. There's that one, and that one. These are all part of that home screen, and when we push the home, it'll take us back here. But sometimes, depending on what screen you're in, it'll take you to this one, because this is where it actually has the icons to get to different things, basically. So let's go ahead and look at the navigation map. Alright, so you can see it. This is the top-down view, and we can change that. Different views here. And we can always go back using the home button. Now the map is, you can pinch zoom and move around on it. You can also, if you want to set a destination, you have to go to the navigation menu, and then you can search for places. You can actually save in your address book here, and all that stuff. It's pretty basic as far as if you're familiar with one navigation system. They seem to be, there's a lot of overlap. Alright, and then once you pair your phone, you have access to that. Now it does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and I'm pretty sure the Android Auto is wireless, but not the Apple CarPlay. Now it depends, because they might initiate like an update or whatever and change that, but that's my understanding at this point, and that's what the phone projection would be. You can add a voice memo, which is really nice. You can go into the climate control settings here, so you can set up different things the way you want to have it. Valet mode, you can initiate that. HD radio data, you can get that. This is the normal radio, and You can see it actually has different displays. You can change the way this looks, but it has presets there at the bottom, what your channel is on, and it's a little bit of album art depending on what's playing. And then media, you can change the media source here. Now AM FM is still listed under media. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth audio, satellite radio, USB music, so you can play music off of a USB port, and then you can go into sounds of nature, and you can just kind of hear, you know, different ones that are, I guess, open air cafe is not really nature, but rainy day is. Sea waves, forest. So you kind of hear that instead of other things if you like. Alright, we'll turn that off. Alright, so the next, swiping to the right there, we can have a look at notifications. There's also a user manual here, or a link to a user manual in which we can scan it and then look at it on our phone, which is a little bit more convenient. And then the Genesis connected services, you'll have to set that up when you purchase the vehicle and you log in to your cell phone account. Now there's also, you can also turn the display off if you want. You just tap it to turn it back on. You can edit these home icons. If you don't want some of these on the screen, you can take them away, that kind of thing. That's kind of a quick rundown of what the screen is all about. And I actually have the G80, a video of the G80 going into more depth, which it has more features and stuff as well. But it basically works the same way. So the four-way flashers are here. You can see it's a big triangle, easy to see. That's an important button. If you're getting in the vehicle and you're not familiar with the vehicle, that's one of the things you want to make sure you know where it is, because in emergency you don't want to try to look for it, because it's like you need to already know where it is. And in this case, it's real easy to find because it's right there and very easy to see, bright red. So there's physical buttons down here that allow you to quickly go to certain places. So you can quickly go to the map, the navigation menu, the radio, the media. Now this button is a customizable button, sort of like the steering wheel, which you can go to a particular screen that if you want to go to all the time, you can hit that. Also, you can go in and set up all the different settings of the vehicle as well. There's a lot of settings in this vehicle. All right. So down here is there is a volume knob and tune through the stations as well, so that's convenient. And then the climate control controls are here. So it actually has heated seats here in the front, ventilated seats as well. So the heated is 3-stage, high, medium, and low. The ventilated as well, high, medium, and low. For the driver and passenger, heated steering wheel is 2-stage, high and low. And the fan speed, temperature for the driver and passengers here, and they have these nice knobs right here looking nice, but they have that same texture as these little wheels here. But since it doesn't matter how hard I squeeze them, I could get good traction. But like I mentioned, these other wheels, they you kind of have to push them hard, and then it's actually initiating another button. So the front and rear defrosters are down here, and it does have an automatic mode. So when you turn it on, you'll know what temperature it's set because it'll show up here, right up here on the screen. Turn the fan down. But it'll actually give you some information. When you have the climate control turned on, it'll pop it up when it's necessary. Right now it's away. As soon as I turn the knob, it pops it up here. So we can get information there at the very top. And the fan speed, where the air is blowing, everything. You can sync all of them, the driver and passengers. You don't have to have them, adjust them separately all the time. Okay, so down here is a 12-volt power supply, a USB input and charger, and this little light right here lets you know when your cell phone is charging. So this is a wireless cell phone charger, so you lay your phone right there, and if it has that capability, it'll start charging, and it'll turn that light on to let you know it is charging. So if you have a cell phone case or something and you set it there, usually, even with a cell phone case on the phone, it'll still charge, and it'll just let you know that it is charging, so you don't have to guess. Okay, so this is the shifter, and it's a non-traditional type shifter. It has a button to put it in park, and then it's just kind of like bumps back and forth, like so. So if we want to put it in reverse, we push this and push forward. If we want to put it in drive, we push that and pull it back on it. And then we put it in park here. So it's a little bit different than what you may be accustomed to. This is an electronic shifter, so it's not actually pulling in cables or anything to, you know, change anything on the transmission like a old school system would be. But when we put it in reverse, a couple things will happen. One is the parking sensors will be initiated, and another thing is this camera system will also pop up. So now's a good time to show you the camera system. It is a high clarity, high resolution, good saturation view around the vehicle. So right now I have it in reverse, so it's showing behind the vehicle right now. It does have active guidelines, so those little lines will move, and it'll actually show here on this side the actual where the tires are going, including the front tires. So you see the front tire popping out there. And so when we put it in reverse, it'll pop up here. So I see behind the vehicle, and I see completely around, like a top-down view. And it looks pretty good. And it stitched those 4 cameras together fairly well to where most of the lines here in the parking lot are straight. You can see there's some disconnects a little bit, but it's not a big deal. You can see a pretty good, you can see the shadows on the ground and all that stuff. But you can change the view. If you want to have a top-down view like this, more focused, you can have that. This is the wide, this is the behind the vehicle. This is the back wheels. So if you want to get close to the, curb, basically, or if you want to see right here in the back wheels, then you can turn this on. And so there's certain times in which you may be parallel parking or parking next to a curb, you want to see this. So this is both back wheels, and this basically just takes away the car, and you just see what's next to the car here behind, and this is the view behind. All right, and so when I put it in drive, we have a different set of options here. We still have the top-down view, but now we're seeing in front of the vehicle. We see the top-down in the front now. This is the front, and this is the front tires. So as I turn the steering wheel, since these wheels turn, you can see them popping out. So now we can see what's going on right next to the front wheels. And we also have settings here. We can adjust you know, certain options here. But yeah, this camera system is really, really handy. The only thing I would add is if they were to have it to where when you slow down very, very slow, say under 10 miles an hour or whatever, it just have a setting that if you want to have the camera turn on, you can have it turn on. Now Toyota does this, and it's automatically turns on when you start getting very slow. So this is really handy for parking spaces and curbs and all that stuff. So you don't have to, you know, push the button all the time. But it is very convenient. So even if you're in park, you don't even have to be in drive. You can always just push this button right here, and it pops up the camera, and you have the full range of options right there. So the camera system is fantastic. I really do like the camera system. The screen resolution and brightness and all that stuff makes it to where it is visible enough to where it's useful. Some vehicles have all this information, but it's very, very small, it's far away, and it's a low resolution. So this is good. This is adequate. So there's to give you an idea of what the shifter is all about. It is comfortable and everything. It does have the paddle shifters in case you need to, you know, you want to get sporty, or if you just want to downshift or whatever. Okay, so here's some cup holders. They have the little articulating arms, so you can utilize different size cups, and it's open here in the middle, and the very bottom pulls out, so you can clean it, put it back in. All right, so here's some more buttons here. This is the drive mode. We'll get to that in just a minute. Traction control, you can turn that off. Default will be on, but if you want to spin tires, you can enable that. Also, if you put it in the Sport Plus, it'll disable the traction control too. So if you want to spin tires, you can do it that way as well. It does have the parking sensors, which are turned on now, and you can of course turn them off, on. Same thing with this, has off and on light. Now the auto hold feature, when you have that turned on, this will hold the brake for you while you're sitting still, like at a red light or traffic or whatever. And once you push the accelerator, it'll allow you to go. But that's a feature that you can turn on or off. It'll let you know that it's on or off right here at the bottom. So when I turn it on or off, it turns, you can see that it's on. So if you let go of the brake and it's not moving forward, it might be this holding the brake for you. And this is electronic parking brake. You lift it up to engage it and hold the brake and then push down to release it, and it engages the rear wheels. Okay, so let's look at the drive modes. So when I turn this, it actually pops up here on the screen, and it has Eco, Comfort, Sport mode. And when I put it in Sport mode, I can feel the bolsters on the seat squeezing my body a little bit, just to kind of make sure that I'm not sloshing around, because I might get really sporty with the vehicle. And it also will change the shift points and the stiffness of the steering wheel, that kind of thing. Sport Plus will disable the traction control, and it has like a sportier feel, but the main thing there is that you can spin tires. You can customize a particular drive mode and to your liking, so you can do that as well, and then you just put on custom to use that. Comfort is really a good balance, because it drives fine. It's not hanging on to the gears and stuff like that too much, but when you push the accelerator, it like kicks right into gear, and it's really impressive. So you don't have just the Comfort one is really good. It's a really fun to drive vehicle without even putting it in the sport mode. So there's the different drive modes there. So here's the armrest, and it's soft, but very like rubbery, hard soft, like you're pushing a tire that doesn't have that much air in it. It's not like a pillow soft. And I might be wide enough to show the passenger, I'm not sure. Speaking of the passenger, there's the buttons there I mentioned before, that you can actually tilt the seat and move it forward and back by pushing those buttons there. And this is handy for somebody sitting in the back seat, as well as the driver, if they just need to move the seat for whatever reason. Makes it easier. Now this lifts up and kind of goes like that. Now when you lift it up, it doesn't fall back down, so that's nice. And there's a felt line compartment here with a USB charge port. And it's also input to the system as well. And there's a little place for wires to go in and out of this compartment. See this little recessed area? It has a tiny little bit of space for wires to go in and out of that compartment. So it has an auto dim rear view mirror, also auto dim side mirrors. It's actually auto dimming all the mirrors now, even the side mirrors. You can see that one over there, and this one. Usually you don't see them auto dimming during the day, but it's doing it now because I have the shade over the light sensor. And the light sensor is right back here on the back of the rear view mirror. And the roadside, the buttons here, you have emergency roadside assistance, but also like you have Genesis connected services to where you can actually like talk to an operator and they can help you find a destination, that kind of thing, and go ahead and put it in your navigation system. There's kind of additional services in addition to just buying the vehicle. You have to have like a subscription, that kind of thing. So over here is the HomeLink garage door opener controls. The headliner is kind of like a suede material. It's like an artificial suede. And it's all the way around. It looks really nice. Okay, so there's a place to put your shades, and it's a felt line compartment. You have reading lights for the driver and the passenger. You can turn on all the interior lights by pushing that button. You can have the lights turn on when you open the door, or you can turn that feature off. So that's what that button does. And this is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in just a minute. The visors are also that suede material. It has a little clip to hold that registration or whatever here. And there's a big mirror and a light that turns on when you open it up. The visor extends out on a plastic rod here. Okay, so looking at the sunroof, it has a suede shade that covers 100% of the light. So if you don't need light coming in, then you got the shade that covers it up. So let's go ahead and move that back. We use the button here. It's a one-touch button. It's like one button that controls everything. So you push it back gently and it'll open the shade. Push it back again, it opens the sunroof. Push it back again, it moves it a little bit. No, that's as far back as it goes. All right, forward. And then to tilt up, we push up on it. Oh, I pushed it too hard. All right, push up on it. There we go. So it kind of vents it up. And then we can push it down. Now we can push it forward and close the shade. Looking at the visibility in the back, you can see the pillars. They kind of get in the way a little bit. Also, it's a relatively small window at the back there. But I haven't had really a big problem. I've driven a Challenger for years, and it has like horrible blind spots. So this is actually not bad compared to that. But in addition to the looking out the window, you also have the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, a full 360 camera system, parking sensors front and rear. There's lots of technology in addition to just looking out the window as far as helping you with reversing out of a parking space or changing lanes. Not to mention, when you put it and turn the turn signal on, it has that blind spot camera that pops up there on the appropriate side, which is really cool. So even when you have it in comfort mode, when you push the accelerator, when you really push it, it'll really go. It's a really incredible amount of power that's latent in this vehicle. It's just, and the transmission is fantastic. That's one of the best things about it. In addition to the torque and power, the transmission, it shifts. It does a little bit of hanging on to the gears, even in, comfort mode, but for the most part, it just has that shift, like just perfectly timed shifts and rapid too. They're not like slow, laggy shifts, or it's not really hunting. It knows right where to put that gear right at the right moment. So, really impressive transmission. It sticks to the road. It really does stick to the road. It feels really nice. So I don't have the traction control off, but if I did, it may spin wheels or whatever a little bit. But I don't want to spin wheels. I want to go. So I prefer to leave it in this normal comfort mode, actually, because I'm still in comfort mode. The additional power, you don't really get any additional power in the sport mode. You just have the engine more in the closer to the power band as far as RPMs, basically. I mean, that's the main thing you'll notice. But I prefer the comfort. It really is a good experience driving it. And it's relatively quiet. Driving. Now, the roar of the engine, part of that is through the speakers. It's a little bit artificially, produced. But it does sound nice, and it's fun, and it matches the acceleration. It feels like you're powering this very strong vehicle. where you can feel the front end lift up. You know, it's that kind of stuff going on. Because it's rear-wheel drive, it has that linear acceleration, and it is very enjoyable. And just kind of cruising along, you know, the steering is fantastic. It's really easy to just kind of like the handling, the steering, the acceleration, the braking. As far as a performance luxury leaning vehicle, it really is well rounded. And it feels like a lighter vehicle than what it is too. It doesn't feel like I think it's like 3,800 pounds, something like that. It doesn't feel that heavy. It feels much lighter, and it's more nimble. The heads-up display is fine. I mean, it has a lot of information on it. It doesn't get in the way, and it's sharp. It's not blurry like some of them. It looks good, and it's useful, so I just leave it on. The lane keeping assist it's kind of good. I mean, it's mostly good, I would say. I mean, the system itself is that kind of system I'm a little bit biased against, but it's handy. I mean, it comes in handy, and it works. It seems to work pretty good. Now, I'll explain this in the night video, but I want to explain this now. The headlights are actually, on this particular vehicle, are adjusted a little bit too high, actually, and they do blind people just driving. If you're not on perfectly level ground, like, you know, if you got a little bit of a deviation in the elevation while you're driving, it does, you know, blind people just because of the way they're adjusted. So it is not it's not necessarily the system's fault. It's really an adjustment's fault, but it is a little bit of an issue right now driving it at night. I hear a tiny bit of road noise, and usually the camera kind of like amplifies the sound a little bit, so it is pretty quiet. I mean, it is pretty quiet. There's a little bit of road noise, but as far as outside noises, it does a good job of keeping them out. The suspension is what you would expect for this type of vehicle. It's like a little sporty type vehicle, and it's intended to be not kind of a little on the stiffer side, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's not really. There's no problems that stand out when I'm driving a vehicle like this. Overall, the bottom line, as far as my opinion, this vehicle is kind of hard to get in and out because of the way the seats are, the way the vehicle is designed. It's kind of small, and that's the main issue for me. Other than that, there's a lot of positive to say about it. The joy and fun to drive. Oh yeah, the seat itself is a little bit not that comfortable for me either. Just sitting in it for a long time is not all that great. But other than those, and those are kind of significant, but they're my personal preferences. Your experience might be different. But other than that, it's just a really fun to drive vehicle. It looks good. It feels quality. The sound system's decent. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's okay. There's a few drawbacks here and there for the price range of the vehicle, but overall, I mean, I'm really enjoyed driving Genesis in general. When I was driving the G70, I have a lot of videos on that, and it was just a pleasure to drive. I did not want to give it up. I had it for 1 week, and I just wanted to just keep it and keep on driving it. It was just such a pleasure. I don't really have that 100% experience with this one, only because of the seats and the, you know, getting in and out of it and stuff. The seats are not super comfortable. But other than that, as far as fun to drive, it's definitely fun to drive. And I really enjoy the way it looks. I like the way it looks. It gets attention. It looks quality. It feels quality. And the gas mileage, I mean, it does require premium fuel, so that's something to consider. The gas mileage is around 23, 24, my experience. And, you know, it is primarily a, you know, it's not a big family car, so, you know, you can put some car seats in the back. You can have some passengers in the back occasionally, but it's mostly for the driver and the passenger, and really primarily for the driver as far as the enjoyment of driving it and getting around in it. It's really fun. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.